Hey, welcome back, guys. Episode 5 of the Villa Generals, talking all things Villa, wrapping up the season. Joined by the mainstay of Azza in a retro goalie top. Fantastic shout that. And T, and without the wig this evening. So first we'll get start cracking. And to be honest with you, I think we're going to follow on from last podcast. I think it's going to be positive, lads. Feeling positive, T?
I am, mate. Really
Good.
Positive.
Good. Not even his naughty kid can upset him today.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about the stress, lads. I've got a Frankenstein kid tonight. No, it's, brilliant. I mean, it's what we wanted, isn't it? Momentum into next season.
It is.
It's come a bit late in the day, isn't it, lads? But, we showed heart.
Absolutely. I mean, you when you look at it and you sort of... You kind of look at the Crystal Palace game again. That's now becomes even more annoying. You can't go and lose away at Crystal Palace and then go and win against Chelsea and Tottenham, can you? But we'll touch on that. But I think let's start from probably the most positive thing of all at the minute is the fans actually being back, and the talk that there's season tickets are going to be at full capacity and renewal hopefully is going to be next week. I mean, I was there personally. I mean, of course, it wasn't the same. There was a quarter of the stadium trying to make up for the noise of 40,000. But honestly, it felt quite emotional actually walking in, just because it's our routine, it's our livelihood in it. We've been doing it since kids, getting up on a Saturday, Sunday, whatever it is, and it was incredible. And for the lads to put on the sort of a performance that they did as well, I honestly didn't go with any expectations. I was just going for the day out, to be honest, and it was. Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, what was your thoughts?
How's you, Azza?
Great. Great. Football is nothing without the fans, and we've said that, and I think that's the truth, isn't it? To have fans back in the stadium supporting the boys on, even if it is the last few games of the season, with the season nearly done, I think it's still important, and it was great to see everybody getting back. There was a huge buzz on Twitter. There was a huge buzz on the crowd, I think, and everybody said how amazing it was, and it was lovely to see the fans kind of trying to avoid any negativism and just be positive and enjoy the day. It's a big deal being back in stadiums, and some at points this season it hasn't gone quite our way, and there's been disappointments, and there's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs. But just to get back in the stadium and feel that football again, face to face, and see the boys playing, and to get 2 results like we have is incredible to finish off the season. So yeah, great. And I'm really chuffed for those people that got the opportunity to get into the stadium and be there. It was great. Really good.
About you, T?
Yeah, echo everything you've both said, really. I mean, it was just lovely. It was like bodies on the line. It was like the game actually meant something. Yeah. You would have thought we were actually fighting for survival, wouldn't you? Or fighting for a European place. It was just a perfect ending to a perfect week, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, that was my next question. Without fans, do we hold on in that game? No. Bear in mind of some of the games that we've sort of seen of late, where we've gone up against City, gone up against Liverpool. Would we have seen that game out without fans?
No, and I tell you why, Drew. The stats back that, didn't they? The stats, incredible the stats, really. We had 29% possession.
Yeah.
I think personally would have lost that.
It was a funny one actually watching it, and I know this is a strange thing to say, but it actually felt like the perfect away performance, if that makes sense, where we almost allowed Chelsea to play in non-dangerous areas. Yeah, they had a few chances, but when we got the ball, we looked like we wanted to do something with the ball for a change, not just sort of, kick the ball up the park. Let's see what sort of Ollie Watkins can run down for us. But I mean, I think the goal from the corner came from just a bit of a nothing ball into the channel. Ollie Watkins chased it off his own flick, forced the corner, and you think that's something I think as Villa have missed for years and years. Someone that will go and do that hard yards for us.
Well, I think we got the balance right as well. Mm-hmm. We had Concert at right back. Yeah. We looked solid, and he kept coming inside to help the 2 centre halves out. We had Jack Grealish carrying us the ball up the field. We had Marvellous Nakamba, who was absolute rock and my man of the match. Yeah. And then you'll have McKinn to make the freedom to start having his love affair again with Jack Grealish. And it was just a perfect balanced performance.
Yeah,
and I echo again what Percy said. It was just frustration, was it really? Yeah. The games we should have won, we easily have made Europe this season.
Yeah.
I think it's what could have been, really. I still think.
I think we should touch on that, actually, because, you know, I was over the moon with the comments that Purslow made and continuously makes, because the buzzword of pretty much every interview I've seen with Purslow is progression. Every single time it's progression. Now, he could quite easily have come on, like you say, on the end of a buzzed week where we've had a really good result against Tottenham, gone and then beat Chelsea at home and just like lived on that wave. But instead he's come on and gone, you know what, it ain't all sunshine and roses. We should have been doing better than what we did. And it's, you know, it's for us now to do that next season. We worked out 3-4 games away from Europe. That is a massive miss for me. Massive miss.
Yeah. I thought he was quite flat, mate, on his interview.
Purslow.
Yeah, I didn't think he was really his usual cheerful, bouncy self. I think he had a bit of disappointment, you know.
Well, maybe he's the same as us, and he thinks the season's come at the wrong time, and that's.
Yeah, I think the massive thing that they'll be dealing with, and they'll be psychologically on their mind, is that, you know, we finished the season so very well with those 2 games. And to put in the performances that we did and to get the results that we did against so-called bigger teams, top teams, sides that perhaps we should have maybe not got a result against. And then looking back at all the teams in the league that we should have had those 3 points, you know, time and time again. There was at least half a dozen games where we should have had 3 points and eventually came away with nothing, you know, and I think that's probably the disappointment and the realization that there is still progress to be made. You know, we still need to change that. We still need to be better at that. You know, going to Tottenham and having Chelsea at home and beating them both is fantastic, but we also need to then have the other results against the teams that we should definitely be playing and beating, you know?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that Jack Grealish is a plan A. I actually think Jack Grealish is a mental thing with the players. The players got lifted with Jack back in the team.
Yeah.
You know, captain back in the team, a guy who's inspirational on the field. And you could just see a total lift, that Spurs and Chelsea game. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily from Jack Grealish doing anything particularly brilliant. It's just in there. Yeah. The players that were getting 7 out of 10, all of a sudden were going 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And that has to be it can't be a coincidence that that's because of Jack Grealish is back in the team.
I think it is, but I also actually think that there's a bit of a we touched on it last podcast, but I do think that McGinn has just looked like he did in the Championship, winning the ball up high, hassling people, being a pest, not giving the ball away all of a sudden. Actually, you know, I think there was a couple of times where he nicked the ball in the middle of the park, and he probably should have scored, to be fair. And that's the McGinn that I think if we would have had all season, and I don't know whether it is that he just loves playing with Jack or whether he just didn't like playing with Barkley or Ramsey or whoever it was he was with. But again, him taking that form into next season, Jack taking his form into next season with a few added extras. And I think that the defence has looked a little bit more solid again, looked less likely to make mistakes.
Yeah. I think it's clear to see that McGinn didn't enjoy playing with Ross. That was quite clear. That was quite evident, I think.
I don't think McGinn particularly enjoys playing with Luiz.
No,
well, I was just going to say, you know, I think the only player that McGinn really loves to play with in his own line is Nakamba. Because Nakamba does exactly what a defensive midfielder should do, which gives McGinn every opportunity and chance and freedom to do what he wants to do and what he does best. You know, I don't think Dougie is a DM, really. I don't think Dougie is a solid defensive midfielder. And therefore, Dougie then steps into the zone where McGinn wants to be doing his thing, and therefore it doesn't work.
I said on the last podcast, I still don't think Dean Smith and the starting 11 actually know what Douglas Luiz is for the Villa.
Yeah.
Because I still baffled to what he gives at the moment.
Yeah,
and I was high praise of him. He was one of my favourite players. You know, I think he was one of the probably 5 or 6 that kept us up. It's just, I don't know. It's just, you look at, I think you compare a defensive midfielder to Marvelous Nakamba. He was giving tackles away. He was giving it nice and easy. He was just a perfect defensive midfielder. Yeah. And then you look at Douglas Luiz. He plays straight passes. He's not particularly fast. He fouls a lot. And I just,
Yeah, I mean,
trying to fit a peg into a square hole, or the other way around.
But again, you know, you go back to that and you think, if I said to you now, give me 3 things that Nakamba did on the ball against Chelsea, you'd probably scratch your head. But then we've all come away saying he's been a man of the match, and that for me is exactly what Villa have missed, because I think why Guinea his form's dropped is because he's been doing 2 men, sometimes 3 men's workload. You know,
he's doing a 6 and 8 to the 10 job, isn't he?
Exactly, and you know, there's no disrespect for Ross, because he had some real good games with us as well, but it was no secret he wasn't running as hard as some of the other lads, and Guinea, being the kind of character he is, was picking up that slack naturally, because that's the sort of guy he is. And unfortunately, as we all know, the more work you do off the ball, the less energy you've got when it comes to the ball, and his quality was becoming quite evident that it was really, really lapsing. And fair play to him, because he was taking it on the chin week in, week out, not complaining, still continuing to do the same job that Smith asked him to do. And now it's sort of kind of come full circle, and everyone's going, McGinn's back. And that's what we've all wanted.
And you know what, Drew, as well? You know, there was a lot of comments halfway through the season. Oh, why is McGinney starting? Let's drop him. He's not performing. But for exactly the reason that you both just said, he plays the 6, 8 and 10 very well when he needs to. And that's why he's undroppable. That's why he's the only man in the middle that, in the current state we've been in the last 3 or 4 months, he wasn't ever getting dropped, because McGinn can do all the bits very well, you know, at most of the time.
I've also got to point out here, lads, very quickly, but Marvelous Nakamba has had a good few games, but let's not forget, we do still need a defensive midfielder.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
So all I've read again on social media, like you do, we don't need one now. We've got Marvelous Nakamba is back. He's only had 4 or 5 decent games this season. Yeah,
totally.
You know, we've still needed that defensive midfielder. We need that 6-foot defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I like? We need someone like the guy at Villarreal, the guy who was at Watford and Spurs, Drew Capoue.
Capoue.
Yeah, someone like that, but a lot younger. I thought he was excellent last night.
I'll tell you, we were, and I know he's a little bit older, but we were targeting that Nzonzi, or whether we were or not. When we signed
Nzonzi,
when we signed Samatta, and I think again that's the sort of bloke we need. Big, tough, horrible bloke. You know, what's his name? Aray Romeo at Southampton. He's another one I wouldn't mind. Run through a brick wall for you, no nonsense. You know, big burly defensive midfielder. Yeah, I'm on board with something like that.
I reckon we should bring Mikael Essien back to Premier League. That's what I reckon.
All right then. Well, talking about Mikael Essien, let's go on to the Chelsea. I mean, I'll start with you, T. Thoughts
of what the Chelsea game? The Chelsea game.
Yeah.
Oh, just brilliant, perfect, marvelous. Yeah, marvelous. It's a perfect game for a perfect last week of the season. It had everything in it. It wasn't flat. No. Love to see the fans back in the ground. And we always said the last 3 or 4 podcasts, we need momentum going into next season. There we have it. There's momentum. There we are, Dino. There's your budget. Go and supply. Go and do your business.
Yep. Yeah. You know what, as well, I would have been really disappointed if we would have come away with a 2-1 win and they dropped a load of players for the Champions League. But that was a strong Chelsea team that wanted to win. Yeah. They did not turn up there wanting to take a poor result from Villa into their Champions League final. They wanted to win that game. And I think we've turned them over.
Yeah, special mention to the ice cream van as well. What if they have 99s? You only have to have a 99. Do you have a 99 in your whippy and strawberry sauce, or do you have a 99? I'm asking you as a podcast question. Yeah.
I'm a raspberry sauce man myself.
Oh, yeah. What about you, Azza?
I wouldn't have any sauce. I'm saucy enough. I wouldn't have any.
Oh yeah. I bet the Chelsea had a good licking, didn't they? Really, but never mind.
Tell you, mate. Honestly,
I'd have 2 chocolate fingers, mate. 2 flakes, I think.
I mean, I had to read that story 3 or 4 times. I thought it was April Fool's Day. I thought they actually complained about the stewards having ice creams.
Honestly,
mate. Well, the bit I don't get, it wasn't that warm, was it? It was pissing down the rain.
No, well, this is what I thought. When we were leaving, mate, my mum was trying to ring us to sort of say, well, what did you think and stuff? And I couldn't get my phone out. My phone was drenched. I'm thinking, what are you drinking? What are you like? It's 99. I still
don't actually understand the story still, do you?
No.
They wouldn't let the coach in because the stewards were eating ice creams.
Mind you, weren't it the Sun that reported it?
Oh no, Sky Sports as well.
Was it?
Yeah, Sky Sports. Yeah.
Mind you, they're about as reliable as the Sun at the minute, aren't they?
I could just see the steward at the entrance. No, mate, hang on, finish my ice cream yet, and then you come into the game then. I mean, what a total farce.
Mate, you couldn't make it. Well,
No, you couldn't make it up. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, what was your thoughts as on the Chelsea match?
I enjoyed watching the game. It was a lovely way to finish the season, and I think that sets a precedent now, doesn't it, for next season? You know, that's the sort of results we need to be pulling regularly next year. I think next year is quite obviously one of the biggest years in Dean Smith's management career. I think it's one of the biggest seasons at the club that we've had in a long, long time. You know, there'll be serious recruitment this summer. When I say serious, that doesn't mean massive amounts of money, but certainly big players coming into the club to strengthen up. And the club is on the up, and Dean Smith has got to, not just Dean Smith, all the coaching staff, the fans, the players, you know, they've got to keep up with that going up. And I think nobody wants to be left behind. And I think Chelsea was a great way to finish off the year and take that into pre-season, take that into next year. It's a lovely, attractive thing, isn't it, for potential new recruits and signings? You know, all brilliant. Villa finished the last day beating the team that are off to the Champions League final next week. You know, that's incredible. So,
also that Spurs result was, brilliant, because look what Spurs did to Leicester.
Yeah.
You know, on our home grounds with supporters behind them going for Champions League. It just shows how good we actually were against Spurs. Maybe Spurs were lacklustre, maybe. We played them off the field, didn't we?
But what, T, how many times have we sat on this podcast and said, against the teams that don't turn up, we're just not punishing them? Well, against Tottenham, we did. You know, they made two mistakes. I mean, fair enough, one was an own goal, but the other mistake that Reguilon made, we punished. Same with Chelsea. I thought every time we went at Chelsea, we honestly looked dangerous. It might not have been very often, and we defended a lot of the game. But when we went forward, I honestly felt like we were going to create something or do something. And like you say, you're not going to go into every game and have 60-70% possession. But when you don't, you've got to make sure that you use the ball properly. And I think we did against Chelsea.
I love
three things.
Go on.
Three things I think that gave us the results against Spurs and Chelsea. One was proper defensive midfielder. Two was Jack Grealish being back in the side and boosting everybody with a psychology of everything around that football club. And three, Bertrand Traore turned up and played for 90 minutes in both games. And when he plays and turns up for 90 minutes, he's class. You know, that goal of his against, was it against Chelsea or Spurs? Chelsea. You know, that's off the training ground, Matt. Yeah. I have a love for Bertrand Traore, and I watch him more closely than other players, and he was brilliant in their last two games. Yeah. And when he turns up, like I say, he can be as good as anybody, really.
It's a funny one actually with Traore, because I've tried to sort of look at him and go, what sort of a player have we ever had like Traore? But I don't think he's comparable. He just does stuff that almost is the complete and opposite wrong thing to do. But because it's so wrong, it comes off, and the defenders don't know what to do with him.
It reminds me a bit of a Hadji. We used to have Hadji.
Yeah, Mustafa
Hadji. Yeah, it reminds me a bit like him. I don't know why. He's a bit of a flair player, but an unknown player. Yeah. But obviously, I think Traore is a lot more consistent than what Hadji was. But he's the same sort of maverick, isn't he?
Traore is very African, Drew. He's very African. And if you watch the African League of Nations, and I did for quite a number of years, quite intensely, he epitomizes an African footballer. Flary, athletic, like just glides across the grass, and that is Bertrand Traore. And I think we're very lucky to have him. I think next year he will be on fire. I think.
I love how they both go inside and outside. El Ghazi and Troy, they go wide and they come inside and do the nitty gritty as well.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Definitely. It's really promising.
Okay, we'll touch on what we've already sort of said, really, in terms of sort of transfers for next season. I know we're getting kind of mixed messages. You hear Purslow saying we're going to be extremely ambitious in the transfer window. You've got some reporters saying we're going after someone like Emi Buendia that's going to be 30-35 million minimum. Then you've got some reporters saying we're not going to be that ambitious. I think personally, Villa have learnt their lesson a little bit. I think we've gone into the last 3-4 transfer windows with everyone knowing that Villa have got cash on the hip, ready to go. And I think what we're doing is playing a bit of a game to make sure that they know that we're going to be a little bit more prudent, going to be a little bit more strategical. And we're going to try and negotiate with you. You know, we want those players, but we're not going to be paying 50, 60 million for them. You know, with Emi Buendia, I genuinely think that would be exactly what we need. That number 10 that can make that running behind, links it up. I mean, when you think of a number 10, you don't, you know, the goals are obviously a bonus, but the amount of assists that he's made and almost that assist to the assist is just frightening what he does on the ball. And me personally, he would be my number 1 transfer.
I'd love him. I'd love him at the club. Take him straight away. Absolutely no questions asked.
I mean, how many players do you see coming in as?
I think 5 to 6, but I think people need to be very realistic about that amount of players. And I think maybe 2 or 3 are going to be the fitting straight into the first team, here to make an impact, here to change and step us up a level. And then there'll be 2 or 3 understudy, talented, younger players that have a lot of potential and can really, really do great things, but are here to learn a little bit, here to adapt, here to provide a little bit of cover. I think at left back, that's a prime example of that sort of player. I don't think you'll see a 20, 30 million pound left back come in. Matty's the first choice for sure. But, you know, be an understudy, a younger, enthusiastic, motivated lad that wants to come down here and show us what he's got. Yeah. Come down here, that might be a hint. But yeah, you know, that's what I think we'll go for sure. So
what
6
about you,
max.
What's your thoughts? How many was coming in?
I think between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I also think we're all nuts if you think that the COO and the manager are going to come on TV and say we're going to spend that amount of money. You know, exactly. You ain't going to do it, are they?
No.
I think fundamentally we will improve. It will be 4 or 5. I hazard a guess, if you put me on the spot, 85 million. I don't particularly think we'll bring loads of young kids in. I disagree with that. I think he'll trust the youth now. And with us winning the Youth Cup, which we'll come on to in a bit, I think he'll rely on a lot of those youngsters.
Yeah.
He's not. I mean, by spending, he'll bring some under 18s in and that, but I don't think he'll be spending millions and millions of pounds on young potential kids, because I think we've got the young potential kids.
Yeah, I do think that we will be very aggressive in the academy market again, though. I think that'll be a continuation now. I think what our owners effectively want to do is put enough in at the top to bring the quality into year 11 and enough in at the academy until they eventually meet in the middle, and then it's just a sustainability.
Well, what will happen? Those under 18s that win the cup will go into under 23s. Some of them are already.
Yeah.
So then you build another foundation and you go again, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got 1 or 2, you know, in a blue moon that pop out of it again, even further, much quicker than their time. Prime examples: Chooks, Jaden, possibly Louis Barry, possibly, you know, there's a 2 or 3 in there that will be in and around the first team training, perhaps not getting game time every weekend, but certainly heavily involved with what's going on and learning from the top boys at the club to be introduced when they need to be, you know.
Yeah.
I'm also a betting man. I think our first signing will be before England-Scotland.
Wow. Neck on the line.
That's quick.
And what position? I'm going to nail you down on this one.
Left back.
Move on. I no smoke and fire. What's the saying in it? There's something in that Norwich guy, isn't there?
To me, I think as well. I think what we've learned from Villa as well is that Villa don't necessarily sign in the order of priority. I mean, let's face it. I think it was Cash as our first signing. Let's face it. Right back probably to everyone wasn't the priority signing in the summer. I think most people thought, why are we going for a right back? We need a left back. I don't think we do sign in priority order. I just think it's just the way the deal. Some deals are a little bit easy to get over the line. And
I think this is the order I think we'll sign. Not the order we'll sign. This is who I think we will sign. A number 10, a left back.
Yeah.
I think we'll buy a strong defensive midfielder, an unknown defensive midfielder. I think we'll actually get French, maybe.
Interesting.
And then I think we'll get a winger / centre forward who can play those 3 positions. I keep saying that in all my podcasts, and I think he'll be an unknown as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think it's no secret.
Sorry, mate. And then I think if it goes to the wire, I think then we will get a proven Premiership midfielder on loan.
Yeah, just a basic midfielder. Yeah, who can do everything. A utility man. Yeah.
Who likes gravy?
Interesting. I mean, from my point of view, I think it's no secret. I think everyone knows the French league's on its arse, isn't it? You know, there's money to be. You know, I mean, look at Sanson. I think he was up for 30 million in the summer, and we got him for what, 10?
Well, forget Sanson's got to come to the equation as well. So
exactly.
We don't need. I agree with Purcell. I agree with Smith. And again, fans are moaning saying, "Oh, we need to get 6 or 7 players in. This is not good enough." We need a mini window. We don't need 6 or 7 players.
Yeah.
I'll be amazed if it's more than 5.
Yeah, and again, it'll all kind of come down to who leaves as well. I think everyone's expecting Engels will go. There's a question mark over Gilbert, whether he sort of bloods Kessler or
Freddie won't go anywhere.
Me personally, I think if it was down to that, we've got a bit of budget left and we need a left back in another priority position, I think Gilbert can cover left back as well. So I wouldn't touch the left back position. But
and I think Smith's giving you a lot of clues. Smith said these signings will be exciting. Smith said he wants English proven, or who's played in the English league. So we're focused. We know who we want, and we'll get them.
Yeah,
and if we don't get them, we go on to plan B, don't we?
Like you say, I think this window is something they've probably been planning for from the minute that we went up, because it's probably our most important window. It's probably our most important season. It's probably Smith's most important season, and it's not a case of we're just going to go, oh, he's available. I mean, there will be a case of that where, Pereira probably wasn't on the radar, and the season that he's had has maybe pushed that agenda a little bit more, but he just fits the mold of the sort of player that we're looking for. So if our target A doesn't come off, then maybe we go to Pereira, and I think that will be the case. We know, I think it was no secret we were after Emi Buendia last summer, weren't we? I think that was touted around. So, maybe it just wasn't the right time, and now this hopefully is the season we get him.
Come on. Football transfers all done on agents, right?
Yeah.
When people watch this podcast, go and just check out who the agent is of Buendia. Go and check him out. It ain't rocket science, is it? He's the same agent of our number 1 goalkeeper.
And they're obviously sat on the plane going to international duty. And
Buendia, he's not in the squad. He's not in the squad, is he? He doesn't play. He doesn't play.
Well, there you go. Then it'll be another one that we have to get into the Argentinian squad.
Again, very quickly, and that's a good selling point for Aston Villa Football Club. How many internationals have progressed?
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's still a few more to come in there. I think there's a few lads that have been maybe sort of deserved a chance and they haven't got it. But again, I think transfer is probably another podcast. We could talk about that all night. I think
we've got all summer to talk about transfers.
Indeed, we do. And I think, like you say, we touched on the academy, and I think it's right to talk, because I think it's been a really exciting week, not just on field, off the field as well. Let's touch on the FA Cup final first. I think for the young lads to go and play, and someone like Brad Young, who's quite clearly a Villa fan, to go and score into the Holt End, mate.
With a penalty like that.
I don't care who you are. If you're a Villa fan, you grow up dreaming of scoring in front of the Holt End.
Right. I'm not going to lie, right? But I was more engrossed and emotional watching those boys play that final than I was the last 2 games this season. And I enjoyed the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Youth cup for me. You know what I'm like, boys. You know my passions is youth players, academy. That's where I've always been involved in. And for me, it was just fantastic. I just love to see us play like that. We were fucking brilliant. We were absolutely outstanding.
There was only one winner. Ignore what the BT bias commentators, because they're backing them bloody Steve McMahon on the side. There was only ever one winner in that game. They bigged the game up while you're watching the game to make Liverpool coming back. No, that wasn't. We were absolutely awesome.
Yeah, we were fantastic. It was great. It was absolutely brilliant.
I actually think as well, it opened a few people's eyes as well, just how good, not just some of the players are, but some of the football that they're playing. And it's a model of what the first team are trying to do.
Yeah, totally. It's the way Dean Smith wants to play.
And,
absolutely.
I think it's incredibly exciting. You've got players who are playing in that that level at 18s that they look like men against boys. You know, you look at Chooks and he looks like he's brushing people off in the playground. He's just head and shoulders above that level. And you know, you've got people like Brad Young, who's put his name on the map that, again, I know you boys have been shouting about for a long time. You know, Kesler, I think his fitness is undoubtable. He's up and down. He's a constant. He's a modern day fullback, Kesler. And again, I think what I personally just hope, and I'm sure it will be, because I think we're in a much better place as a club now, but these kids are getting a lot of smoke blown up their arse at the minute, and they just need to keep their feet on the ground with it.
Yeah.
Maybe running into the change room to get your phones is a bit, but that's just the modern era, isn't it?
Yeah, modern era. It's you know, I think what's really exciting is exactly like you said, Drew, about that's the way that Smith wants the first team to play, and it's an ingrained mentality. It's an ingrained ethos at the club from right down in the lower teams right through to first team. So you know, when players get their chance, and when those younger boys get their chance in the first team, whether it be a cup game or whatever, you know, they are perfectly ready just to slit in and slot into those positions that they need to play in the first team, because it's the same old same.
It was just
same principles.
It was a model first team, wasn't it? You had two fullbacks bombing on. You had two centre halves you know, good with the ball. You played out the back. You had the guys in the midfield who one could play 10-yard passes, the other one could sit and hit them all the time. You had Brad Young, who's basically Ollie Watkins running his arse all over the place. And it was just a pleasure to watch. I got a bit nervy at times when we do play from the back.
I know. I mean, it's good though. I mean, imagine having that kind of confidence in front of 5,000 fans that they've never done before.
Amazing.
And you know, and I think what people, you know, there's obviously big names in our academy that people are starting to hear about and have heard about before they got to us. But you know, people need to realise we spent a lot of money on people like Bogard, the centre half. He can play at centre mid as well. Sil Sinkles. I think we saw off like people like Tottenham and Arsenal for those two lads.
Poached a guy from Man City, Lindley.
Yeah.
Lindley was very good.
Very good. I like him, I do.
You know, and it's a funny one as well, because as good as Lindley's been, he's only been in that team because Aaron Ramsey's been injured. You know what I mean? You know, all through the competition, the three has almost been, Chucks has been as a 6 and an 8 with him and Reiki. And actually, Chooks has actually put himself in a bit of a position now where, because he's gone into the number 10 and all of a sudden he's gone berserk with the goals.
I thought, I don't know what you thought as well, mate. I thought Barry's overall play was so much better as well.
Yeah, agree.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I've questioned his overall play at times, but yeah,
best I've seen him. Best I think I've seen him.
His work, right? At one point, he was in the corner flag in the first half, winning the ball back, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's just exciting. I could sit here for another 3 hours talking about the boys. You know, it gets me all emotional. I think they're freaking brilliant. It's such a fantastic, exciting time. Yeah. Arjan is going to be a hell of a player. You know, he was doing things. He was doing things 2-3 moves behind anything before it even happened. And he was seeing things happen before the players even knew about it. You know,
and he looks 25. He looks 25 as well.
Yeah.
He's built like a
so mature in his play and in his approach to the game, and he's such a humble lad. And oh man, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see them play again.
I'm surprised he's not captain. He's a captain material for me. I'm surprised he's not captain.
I think it's one of them ones. I think actually Aaron Ramsey's the normal captain. He's your main man, and he's the captain of the England squad. So there's obviously something, you know. Again, you watch the academy games. How much can you see them talking and communicating? And he's clearly doing that at both levels, because you don't get to become a captain of England if you've not got that organisational skill, do you? So. But again, I think build on that. I think from one piece of exciting news to the next, and it's obviously been approved over the last few days of this inner city academy. Villa now the only team who's got an inner city sort of facility to capture those maybe underprivileged kids that are an outstanding talent that just can't afford to get to the training ground in Tamworth, and that they haven't got the support from maybe parents or whatever it be. And I think the idea is going to transform Villa's academy. I really do. I think you're almost now creating another academy.
Yeah, Aston Brasilia, you know what I mean? Like let's get those kids off the streets, because there's a hell of a lot of talent on those streets. And you're absolutely right. You know, the vulnerabilities and the harder to reach communities where there's young kids that really have a lot of talent and a lot of ability. They're just not getting seen. They're not made. They can't make games. They don't have money to buy the kit to be involved in the club that they want to play for.
Yeah.
You know, so having something like that in the city for underprivileged kids and those that are less advantaged to come in and just play some football and get seen is incredible. I think it's fantastic. And actually, you know what, the biggest thing for me is it just goes to show how much the owners really truly are falling in love with this club. You know, they're not Villa fans, neither of them are Villa fans, but to put something like that in place and fund something like that and spend time and effort to make something like this happen just shows the love they have for their roles at the club and the love that they have for doing what they want to do with Aston Villa Football Club. Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I'm chuffed to bits. I think it will be a great thing to see, and you know, yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, touching on that, I think you're right. I think there's just something about Villa, isn't there? You know, you can't just sort of like Villa, you just love them. You know, it just gets under your skin. You know, you see all the pundits that come. This is our favourite ground to commentate at, and you know, I think Gary Neville was in an interview a couple of months ago saying if I ever did leave Man U, it would have been someone like Villa. I would have gone. You know, I don't think people realise just how big Villa are and how big they can be in the future as well. And the foundations are probably now as good from sort of the bottom up as they've ever been. And you know, I can't wait for the next couple of years because I think it's such an exciting time for Villa. And you know, like we've said before, whether it's with Smith, whether it's with whoever, again, just to reiterate, I'd love it to be with Smith. But if it's not, we've still got a very, very exciting future at this club.
Yeah, and I'd like to see us go to the Man City model a little bit as well. And I think we will do, starting to buy clubs abroad, European, Asian. I think we're interested in a Portuguese club. I think that'll happen.
Victoria.
I think we're interested in a Danish club. I think that'll happen.
Doesn't Chelsea do it as well, T?
Yeah, but not as big as what Man City do.
No, they send all their lads to that. Is it Vitani or?
Yeah, Dutch.
The T's on them. The T's on them.
Yeah, I want to do that, and because it puts those lads, those young lads, into an experienced first team environment, which we can control. And that's what I want. I want to see some of these kids now. You know, go on to feeder clubs as such, but we actually own the feeder clubs. I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that.
And the good thing about feeder clubs as well is, and City do this, is they employ. So City employs staff to go and work at the feeder club as like an external, internal member of staff to watch the loan players and keep them assessed. And that's magical. That is. That's like behind enemy lines, like incredible.
And Jedinak's involved as well, with the development of players. But how many? Just very quickly, how many players you actually know? You know, in years to come, we've sent on loan have actually been successful. There's not many, you know.
The only one I can think of is Jack
Grealish. So that has to stop.
It's quite clear that we're trying to align ourselves with the big boys. I think it's us, Man City and Chelsea, the only team in England that have got a director of football development of some sort. And again, that sort of stuff, you can quite clearly see that, you know, having Purslow, who's been at those sort of clubs, he wants to bring that to Villa and go, well, we'll do it, and it'll be part of the way that we work forward from now. It's exciting. It really is.
This is why Chelsea Football Club are quite a successful football club, and this is what I tried to drill on the last podcast. Is if Dean Smith does happen to go, then we have a model and a foundation in place that it won't be much disruption. Do you know what I mean by that? You know, that manager will just carry on, and if that manager doesn't do it, then we'll change him. It'll just carry on. Not like a Spurs manager where they've not really got a structure in place, really. They're just like picking anybody from the air, getting their ex-manager back. We'll have a nice, solid foundation in place, which is good and exciting.
Agree. Yeah.
Definitely. All right, then. Let's move on to the awards that got awarded on match day Sunday. So Players Player went to Matt Targett, Supporters went to Emmy, and Academy went to the one and only Mr. Chooks. For me personally, I couldn't have picked three better players. One, just purely because they just seem just genuinely nice kids. And I think someone like Targett being voted as Players Player, imagine how much confidence that has given that kid to go into next. Last season, people were calling for his head, me probably included, and guilty of it. I remember the one game, I think, you saw Adama coming on for Wolves, and Targett just went down injured for me. And I'm sure he was injured, but it just felt like he just, I don't fancy this at all. Now he's just come off the season where he's played in every single game, first players to do it for many years, and been voted as player's player. And I just think you can see his shoulders have just gone like that because of how proud of himself he is. I'm chuffed to bits with all three of those decisions, to be honest.
I won't change those three. Well, yeah, I'd stick with those three as well. Yeah. It's a shame we can't have a separate award for Konsa, really, or most improved player.
Yeah, I mean, he could still get young player of the year.
You what, mate?
So Konsa could still get young player of the year, isn't he? 22, isn't he?
23, yeah, 22, yeah.
I'd have had Matty Targett down as most improved, and then I'd have had Konsa as player's player for sure. I think just to get Konsa in there because he's had a tremendous season. But I wouldn't change any three of the choices. I don't think Emmy's been a world-class signing.
Totally deserves it. Here's a quick question for you, and I've thought about it the last couple of days. Do you think Konsa playing right back might have hampered his getting in the England squad?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I think it did.
I think it's calmed him down a little bit because me personally, and I've loved watching Konsa this season, but I think the last month, Konsa's gone a little bit sloppy. Don't know whether it's just tiredness, complacency. I don't know, but I just think
if you've got an international manager comes to game, mate, to go and watch you play at centre half and you're playing at right back, that's surely not going to help him, is it?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear what you're saying.
But again, like what you said, how much of a right back was he? He was tucking in that far. He was almost like a third centre half most of the game. As I say, I think personally, we've said it before in a podcast, I think there was 2 or 3 games where Southgate come to watch him, and whether it was the pressure, whether he was just off that game, he just didn't perform. And unfortunately, I cannot have that Ben White has been better than Konsa this season, but maybe when Southgate's been to watch Ben White, he's performed better than Konsa. And unfortunately, that is what football's about.
I think what you got to remember though is I think it's very easy to just be led by the social media and the posts that we see. Southgate just didn't go to one game and watch a player and that was the decision made. There's analysis going on all the time. There's people visiting games. There's England staff that have been analysing these players for months and months and months. Southgate turning up shouldn't, in my opinion, change a decision that they probably already made 3 weeks ago.
It takes 4 goalkeepers and he takes Coady.
I mean, ridiculous. I mean, Southgate's appalling. Decisions that he's made are appalling, but it is what it is, and we just have to get on with it, don't we?
But I mean, I'm touching on that though, because for me personally, if Maguire was fit enough for the England squad, he would have played minutes last night. And the fact that he didn't come on and didn't even look like he was ready to come on tells me that he's not fit for the Euros. So that tells me that Southgate is now going to be in a position where he's going to have to either sort of say, no, we need to call somebody else up, or Maguire drops out and we just have to go with a rookie. I don't know. I think, like you say, some of the decisions that he's made there are quite poor. And I think some of his comments about Jack, it makes it feel like he's digging him out a little bit, saying, I don't know if he's going to be fit enough to be playing because Henderson's had a lot more time on the training ground. Well, anybody that has played football at any kind of level, I tell you, mate, I could go and run around Chasewater all night long. But if you wanted me to go and play 90 minutes on a football pitch, mate, I wouldn't last 10 minutes. It's a different fitness. It's a different fitness.
It breaks my heart to say this, but I wouldn't be surprised if Grealish doesn't make the last 26.
It wouldn't surprise me either. I really, really, really hope the kid goes. But even if he goes, how much football is he going to play anyway?
He's just got this niggly feeling, gets a whack in the training. Or something's going to happen in it.
Yeah, it'd just be our luck.
Just be our luck from a perfect week, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah, it would. But anyway,
I think Jack will be gutted. He
would. But listen, I think let's finish off. Let's wrap up with the Villa Generals Awards for the season. So let's go for goal of the season. Az, we'll start with you.
It's a toughie. I don't honestly know the answer.
You look like he, man, with that goalkeeper top on you.
Thanks, mate.
Go on, T.
Sorry, carry on.
I'll let you have a go, T, and Az think.
Troy against the Albion away.
Oh, I like that.
I still can't stop watching it. Yeah, lovely. That little shimmy.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. That's mine. Next, Az.
Al Ghazi against the Albion.
Al Ghazi against the Albion.
Was it against Albion or Tottenham? Who was it against? Where he came in here and tucked it around?
Everton.
Sorry, mate. Everton. Yeah. Everton.
Yeah.
How was it against Everton? Great goal. Great goal.
I like the just because I just for some reason cannot stand this club at the minute. It was Bertie's goal against Man U. I just thought he can't even shoot from there, and then he's just nearly broke the stanchion, mate. And that goal summed Traore up for me. It just where does he bring it from?
He don't score tap-ins, does he really?
Nah, he doesn't. But yeah, that was my favourite for the season. All right, player of the season.
Target.
Did you say Barkley?
Target. Barkley. I'm gonna get my wig on now.
Player of the season for me. I think I'll go for someone that perhaps won't get much vouch because he had a few games where he was out of injury. But Matty Cash, I just think we needed something seriously good at right back, and I think we've got it with Matty. I think that he's an outstanding player, and he's shown that on several occasions this season, and he's only going to get better. He's fully embraced the ethos at Villa. And for me, he's made the difference on a lot of occasions, particularly in that first period of the season where we were immense.
I think you're going to see a massive different Matty Cash next season because he has made some very, very naive mistakes. I personally think he's the reason why we didn't beat Man City.
His positional sense sometimes goes wondering, and his shorts.
All right. Chill out.
No. But it is a good point because I think he's been
but his shorts are too tight.
He's had a cracking season, that's undoubted. But I think he'll benefit from having a good year under his belt in the Premier League, and John Terry will line out some of the mistakes that he'll
be a Matty Target next year.
Yeah. And
England
I think
squad next year, yeah.
Hopefully. I'm going to go Ollie Watkins. I just think he's transformed the way that Villa play. I think that some of the goals that we've scored are down to just him running down avenues that you just wouldn't go down, and he just keeps going and going and going, and he always does it with a smile on his face. He absolutely loves playing for our club, and I think it's coming out of him. And for me, that's the reason why it's Ollie Watkins.
I love Ollie Watkins, but I also think he's missed a hatful.
Yeah, he should be finishing more. Should be finishing more.
Definitely. He's at the post. He's at the woodwork 10 times.
Oh yeah.
That's not a criticism of the guy and everyone.
No.
It's not a criticism.
All right.
Not you. When they get back onto social media, he said I love Ollie Watkins. It's the best things that happened to Villa, but he should have scored a shitload more.
Should have had 20 at least.
Signing of the season. I'm going to stick with Ollie. I think it would be silly for me to choose somebody else. I think Ollie again has now given us a different way of playing because of how he presses. It sets the tone for the rest of the team. And I think a lot of the games that we've won is because of the way he presses.
I personally think for value for money, he's got to be the keeper.
Martinez. Yeah, I'd go Martinez. But Ollie is a very close second, if not joint first for sure. Both of them outstanding, both ends of the pitch. Change the game.
You've got to look at how many games either of them have actually won us. I reckon Martinez has won us absolute shitloads of games this season.
Yeah.
He's made some world-class saves.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple he made against Chelsea, and I don't know if it showed you on the TV. He made one. I think it was against Chilwell just after the goal.
Yeah.
And he turned around to the crowd and really celebrate. And you think like this last game of the season can't go any higher or any lower than 11th. This bloke just loves winning and he loves keeping the ball out the back.
His attitude reminds me that of Brad Friedel when he was at the club. He really embraced being at this club and really loved being at this club.
Those saves he makes now, just like the norm. You just think, it's just a save. And you look back at it, you think, that's just a world-class save again.
It is, yeah.
It's a shame when he get his record as well. We get his record, but go past the record.
Yeah, I agree. All right then, Academy Player of the Season.
I'm going to go...
Brad Young.
I'm going to go...
Bradley.
I think you've got to go Chucks, isn't you? Yeah.
That's obvious though, isn't it? I'll go outside the box again because everybody goes for Chooks. Yeah, he's been class. There's no doubt about it. But Brad Young for me, I love him. I think he's been great.
Outside the box, I'll probably go Seb Revin.
Yeah, I think he looks a special talent.
Yeah, at left back, unreal.
You know what? And I read something about this lad, and he's so desperate to be in the first team and make an impact. You know, and I'm sure most of them do, but it was just sort of it got printed about Aaron Ramsey, that he sits down with the coaches and asks them, how can I get better? And they watch clips of sort of people like, I don't know, Fernandez or whoever's playing in the number 10 position, of how he can get into better positions to score goals. And if that's the sort of attitude the kid's got, then I'm rooting for him. And I'm sure they all do it. But the want to actually go and do that yourself, I think. I said
this last season when Aaron's name first really started getting into people's reports. He is the better Ramsey.
Yeah.
He will be better than JJ.
I think you can tell already by watching him, he's a bit more of a risk taker than JJ. I think JJ is, for me, what I call a water carrier. He just passes safe. He keeps the ball, doesn't really excite. And unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna cut it. I really don't.
He's a floaty player, mate.
Yeah, I mean, nothing against the kid. I'm sure he's a lovely lad. Okay, a bit of a question then. Who's been your coach of the season?
Shakespeare for me. I think he's had a special mention. I think he's took us to another level. And for what I'm hearing as well, he's definitely took us to another level. I heard something yesterday, and he's.
What did you hear to?
Oh, come on the pod. I'll tell you two after. I've just heard good things about him. Absolutely great things about him, and I think he's been the difference for our defensive shape as well, not just John Terry.
I think he's one of those blokes that he's just a perfect coach, and he just isn't the manager. Do you know what I mean? He's tried being a manager, and he's tried at being a coach, and I think he's a far more successful coach than he is manager. And I'm, like you say, I think there's a reason why Smith fought tooth and nail to get him at the club, and I think we have benefited massively by having him.
The players totally, utterly respect him as well. I know I said about JT on the last podcast, but I didn't actually realise how much the players actually do love Shakespeare. Really do love him.
I think based on the performances and the improvements, even from being a good keeper, I think Neil Cutler with Martinez, Jed Steer, and I know Jed hasn't played a lot. But you know, Neil is a well-loved member of staff, and he signed a new deal, hasn't he? Signed a new contract this week, which is great. You know, big influence on Martinez being at Villa, and I know, you know, if you look on Martinez's socials, you know, he's always applauded Neil for thanking him for stuff, and so for me, Neil Cutler for sure.
Good stuff. I think that's a cracking comment, to be fair, and you know, I think goalkeeping coaches can get sort of overlooked at times, but I think any keeper that he's looked after have all had nothing but positive words to say about him. And
if you look back as well, Drew, you know, you got the likes of Nyland, who were at the club, you know, and despite Nyland not being a great keeper, he did improve, and there was huge changes in him from being what he was in the Championship.
He'll go down in Villa history, he will.
Yeah,
well, as a clown.
No. He made the most important save of our club's history, and it was a save. It was a save.
Oh dear, give over.
Listen, we'll finish it there, but I just want to finish off by saying appreciate everyone that's sort of watching our videos and sort of showing us support, and just do us a favour. Can you drop us some comments, give us some feedback of kind of how you think, or, you know, any opinions of what we're saying, and subscribe to us. You know, we're making sort of videos regularly, and just keep up to date with what we're doing. You know, we're just three normal lads that love the Villa. And you know, we're asking for you guys to come onto the podcast as well and give us your opinions. We just want normal Villa lads. Get on. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, all of the above. Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the Villa.